Alright, first and foremost, I would like to give all honors and praises and glory belongs to my Lord and Savior. His name is Yahawah, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, Bahavaka Kodash. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahawah. His Son's name is YAHAWASHI, in whom I reverence and honors to the apostles that have in the Holy Spirit and to the hopeful elect across the globe and to the few, the very few brothers and sisters listening and also learning in the hopes of being saved within these last days, all right? This lesson is going to be based on prayer and fasting. Prayer and fasting, okay, which is very important for all of us. And this is something sometimes we can struggle with, all right? So let's go into, we got Isaiah. Just a minute. I ain't got nothing written down. Go to Isaiah. And we also go to Matthew's. Because it does help, and in these times we're going to need to fast as much as possible. Because some of you brothers, some of us are going to be tested. Some of us may look, we know we're going to eat. Someone's going to eat. Okay, excuse me just a minute. Quickly go to that. Because we're not going to completely be destitute of any food. The Lord may have it where you're not going to eat nothing for 1 or 2 days, just as a test of faith. All right, excuse me just a minute. Go to Isaiah 59 and 3. Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul and takest no knowledge? Right? These are those, hold on just a minute. Behold, in the day of your fast, you find pleasure and exact all your labors. So these were individuals that were fasting, but they were doing it outwardly. They wanted to be seen outwardly. They wanted to be noticed outwardly. When you're fasting, no one's supposed to know when you're fasting. Nobody. At all. Verse 4, behold, ye fast for strife. So there's certain men that fast for strife, right? And debate. So you have certain men, they may not be given certain things they may not know, but they're fasting just for strife and debate, right? And smite with the fist of wickedness. So you do know even demons fast as well. You got a lot of people that are into, you know, witchcraft. The witches even fast. They fast to get demons. Yeah, they even do it on the left hand side. And let me fast. Let me drink a lot of water, not eat anything. Yeah, they even do that. Okay. You shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. So there's a right way of doing it and there's a wrong way. This was the wrong way. It is such a fast. This is the right way. It is such a fast that I have chosen. And it doesn't just have to be on a day of atonement, because every day really is a day of atonement. Really, YAHAWASHI is the atonement. It is such a fast that I have chosen. A day for a man to afflict his soul. So when you're fasting, you're afflicting your own soul. Why? Because the flesh is getting weaker in a good way, right? And Satan, what does he desire? That you operate in the flesh most of the time. So when you're fasting, the devil has less room to attack your flesh because you're fasting, right? You're afflicting yourself. It is to bow down his head like a bulrush. The bulrush, check out the bulrush plant and see how it bows down, the top bit of it, which is humility. And to spread sackcloth and ashes unto him. Would I call this a fast? An acceptable day to the Lord, YAHAWASHI. So when you're fasting, that also pleases the Lord, because it shows you're making some form of effort, sacrifice, and discipline for YAHAWASHI. Verse 6, is not this the fast that I have chosen to loose the bands of wickedness? What, the bands of flesh? Because there may be particular things you're struggling with. Excuse me just a minute. Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha. Hold that right there. Excuse me just a minute. See if I can get this up. Because there may be particular things we struggle. I mean, there's all things we still struggle with in the flesh, right? I'm sure there is. Every brother, there's something. It might be a minute thing, might be a big thing. Type in, quickly want to get this up. Excuse me, just a minute. Mark 9:29. Hold that right there. Hold that right there. Right, that's spiritual as well. 11:44, 144. Spiritual numbers. Excuse me, just a minute. Alright, hold that on deck. So let's go back to Isaiah 59. It's Isaiah 59, and it says, "Is not this the fast that I have chosen to loose the bands of wickedness?" Key thing. It says the bands of wickedness. So when you're doing this, guess what's happening? Satan's getting annoyed because he doesn't have no pull upon the flesh. That's another thing that the devil fears, is someone that's highly and well disciplined. And one may say, yeah, all right, you got people in the world, athletes, they're disciplined and so forth, but they're still in the world. They're still in the world. That's different, right? But more so, you let go of the bands of wickedness, right? Certain sins, certain patterns, sin patterns, right? Because when you have these patterns, you may be saying, well, why do you get spiritually attacked a lot? Because there's particular sin patterns we've had from a young age, and you were doing it for such a long time. And that's why another thing is, that's why you might get spiritually attacked a lot as well, right? Because particular things we were doing, okay, to undergo heavy burdens and to let the oppressed go free. And as you break every yoke, that's how you're able to see. Everything we need is in these scriptures, and to break every single yoke, right? Because the devil wants us in bondage to the flesh, because that's how he can really get a grip of you. If he knows, if he can keep you in the flesh, he's got a grip over you, right? And I want to say this as well, bro. I like a bit of food. Come on, bro. Who don't like food? I'm into the herbs. Bro, I like food. I like cooking. I like trying new stuff. You know what I'm saying? But remember, there's a balance, because Satan also used that against YAHAWASHI when he was being tempted for 40 nights and 40 days. So there's different things we like. You may be a brother that likes boxing. I know a lot of brothers in the truth, you're into boxing, martial arts, all that. But even within that, you find the balance. You look after your body. The scripture says bodily exercise profiteth. Yeah, profiteth little. It does still profiteth. But you don't want to spend you're in the gym 2 hours, but you ain't done no studying. Sometimes we have to take time out. And this goes for myself. Prioritize the truth. Okay? Let's go back to verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen to let loose the bands of wickedness, to undo heavy burdens, and let the oppressed go free, and that you break free of every yoke? I just want to throw this out there as well. I used to watch that program back in the day, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Have you noticed something? The individuals that were on that particular program, where they get taken to some type of remote island, and when they first come in there, have you noticed they may be a bit overweight and so forth, but because they can't eat like that, have you noticed during the end of the program, there's a change in their countenance. They look more fresh. They look rejuvenated. So even those in the world, even they know about the powers of fasting and discipline. Because also you're able to rejuvenate cells through fasting. Yes, your cells renew through fasting. Right? You get renewed cells. Your hair grows. It promotes growth. So there is good things about fasting as well that they're not going to tell you about. Verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and thou bring the poor, and thou cast out of thy house? When thou seest the naked, thou cover him, and hide not thyself from thy own flesh. Right, help out your brother. Then shall the light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily. So you notice how it says thy health shall spring forth speedily. So there is a good thing, right, about fasting. Because it says your health will spring forth speedily. You get rejuvenated. Because a lot of people, do you know, a lot of these people you see, they need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. That's crazy. That's crazy. Every 2 to 3 hours you need to eat something. And fast, from the moment you're sleeping, there's different fasts. There's intermediate fast, right? Which could be from, like example, you sleep, right? And when you wake up, there's a reason why it's called breakfast. That means break fast. So when you're doing it, you're breaking fast. And even if you choose to have breakfast, it's something light, like, what's example? You may have an orange, you may have a banana. And guess what? Natural water comes from what? Fruits, right? Even within your fruits, you get water out of it if you crush it. So that's breaking fast. But if you don't do that, if you don't eat nothing during the morning, since you wake up and you prolong it to 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that's called an intermediate fast. Now, a full fast is from evening, right? When the sun goes down to the next evening. That's a full fast. So with fasting, guess what? You're able to break the bonds of what? Satan. So these are all tools we have in the spirit. Okay? But I would say to any brother in this truth, sister that's new to this truth, try the intermediate fasting first. Basically, it's when you sleep, right? When you're sleeping, you may eat something at 7 o'clock before you slept. And you're like, that's the last meal I'm going to eat at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Then when you wake up, don't eat nothing and leave it till another. Yeah, that's like a full fast, right? If you're doing it to the evening, to the next evening, that's a full fast. And then you can have an intermediate fast where you just don't eat no breakfast and you eat something at 5 o'clock. That's intermediate fasting. And it's very, very, very good, right? And the scriptures deal with this. YAHAWASHI delights in that because it shows discipline. And you pray with that, I'm telling you, you're going to be, the Lord's going to deal with you if you do these things in sincerity. And thine house shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. Because the angels are seeing these things, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then shall I call, and the Lord shall answer. So there's particular things you may be praying, but the Lord may not be pleased with particular things. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am, here I am. So the Lord, it's not that he doesn't hear. There's particular things that he wants of us. I'm even edifying myself because I need to work on particular things, right? I was eating a lot of carrot cake last week, and I think, oh man, that's bad. Okay, and it says, and here am I. So there's particular things that look the YAHAWASHI wants from us. If thou take away the midst of thee the yoke, or putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity. And if thou shalt draw out the soul of the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then thou shalt thy light rise in obscurity, in darkness, and the darkness shall be as noonday. And that's what YAHAWASHI is able to do. And the Lord shall guide thee continually and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters fail not. Excuse me just a minute. That reminds me of somewhere in Jeremiah. I think it's Jeremiah 10. Should be like a fountain of spring waters. Jeremiah 10, I think it's Jeremiah 17. And where was it? And 9 months will go to this. Now it's verse 6. For he shall be like a heath in the desert and shall not see when good cometh. Hold on, verse 7. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord YAHAWASHI, whose hope is in the Lord YAHAWASHI. Don't lose your hope. Everything that's been happening to me, I still believe in YAHAWASHI regardless, right? For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters. We want to be planted, rooted. And what happens with a tree that's planted by the waters? Bro, it doesn't fade away. All year round is flourishing. Different colours and spreadeth out her roots by the river. In other words, you're blossoming. You're growing. And shall not see when the heat cometh. Okay, trouble, but her leaf shall be green. And shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful and above all things. Our own hearts, our own minds are deceitful. Yes, at times your own mind will play tricks on you, right? The heart is deceitful above all things. Our own hearts, our own minds, right? So knowing our hearts are deceitful above all things, sometimes your heart's going to say, you know what, I don't want to study. Go do something else. Go link up with this woman. She's waiting for you. Go to the cinemas instead of doing a lesson. So we have to prioritize our time in this truth. And desperately wicked, our own minds. Who can know it? Right? So not every thought is a righteous thought. I, the Lord, search the heart, but the Lord knows the heart, and I try the reins, even to give him every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing. So we want to serve Yahawah to the best of our ability. Isaiah, did we finish off on that? Yeah, we finished off on Isaiah. It's a constant war. So now I want to go to Matthew's Baba Kasha, and it talks on how to fast. Matthew 7. And I hope you're being edified, because this is, I didn't think this lesson would come out of this. This is edifying to me also. Right? So much things we need to work on. When you wake up to this truth, you're going to realize we haven't got it all together. There's always something we need to work on. This is Matthew 6. And another thing I want to say as well, you notice when you fast, you're given a lot of mental clarity, right? Because the starchy food, the potatoes, I don't know, the bread, this is starchy food. It can block up your arteries. But when you cut that off, it's like, I've got mental clarity again. I can see so much things, and more gets revealed to you in the spirit. So this is Matthew 6. And the fasting. Let's go into the bit with the fasting, Baba Kasha. When I prayest, excuse me just a minute. Hold on a minute. This is about the alms. Here it is. This is Matthew 7 and 16. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites, right, of a sad countenance, right? You on upon camera again. I'm not gonna give out names. I've seen it with a few brothers in Great Millstone. This one brother's a good actor. He's an actor. Oh, that's the spirit. Because what does hypocrite mean? Hypocrite means actor. So you got a lot of actors. Why are you on screen rubbing up your face every second with a sad character? You're being an actor, and that's what the Pharisees were doing a lot of that as well. Moreover, when you fast, this is YAHAWASHI speaking. Moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites, right? Of a sad countenance. You don't need to distort your face, for they disfigure their faces. You twist up your face, like they may appear unto men to fast. So you want people to notice that you're fasting. Nobody's supposed to know. Verily I say unto you, they have their rewards. Right? So with you doing that, you already have your reward. Okay? When you do, you have your reward. Oh, what you fasting, brother? Oh, you're so holy. You know? Nobody's supposed to know. But though when I fast, is this what you do? You anoint thy head. And you may say a Hebrew prayer as well. You anoint yourself. It could be almond, or you can use almond oil, it could be olive oil. Right? And wash thy face. So you anoint your head and you wash thy face. Why are you washing your face? So you look fresh, so it seems like you're just another day. That day appear not unto men to fast, because you don't want anyone to notice. But unto thy Father which is in secret, because the Lord deals with what? The things in secret, the hidden things. And thy Father which seeth thee in secret shall reward thee openly. You will get rewarded openly. How? Now you've grown in the spirit. Your house is able to give you more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, where you grow in the spirit. Right? And now individuals are looking, well, how has he grown? Because there were certain things you were doing, but you weren't telling everyone else. And that's how you fast. That's a proper fast. Okay. And there's another scripture I would like to get, Baba Kasha. Mark 9 and 29. This is Mark 9 and 20. Start at 25. Right? Start. You know what? Let's start at. Wait, there's a bit here. Let's go to verse 16. Verse 17. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which have a dumb spirit. What's a dumb spirit? A dumb spirit is someone that doesn't talk. Right? Someone that's mouth is closed, their tongue has been stuck. Right? Go into that word dumb. Right? And guess what? I'm gonna be real, because I'm very transparent. Guess what? I had a dumb spirit on me prior to waking up to this truth. And even that takes humility to say I had a dumb spirit on me. Even John's, what was it? Was it John's father? I think, yeah, John's father had a dumb spirit on him for a particular moment and time. Right? Where his tongue cleaved to the roof of his mouth. That's all a dumb spirit is. You're not able to talk for a certain amount of time. You just may nod your head. Dumb, it says unarticulate. Being dumb doesn't necessarily mean you're unarticulate. That's Esau being an idiot. Mute, okay, silent, speechless, tongue-tied, unable to speak. Okay, so that's a dumb spirit. Not being able to speak. That's what it was. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him. Right? So he was also being tormented. And he foameth and gnasheth with his teeth. So there was anger there as well. And pineth away. This sounds like Tourette's. Yeah, it sounds like Tourette's. Esau calls it what? Tourette's? Yes, Tourette's. Tourette syndrome. They call it. Excuse me just a minute. Let's type in. I want to type the M. Alright? Type in Tourette's. See if I can find it. Tourette's. Syndrome. Don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Tourette syndrome. What's eye rolling, blinking, shoulders shrugging, jerking of head or limbs, jumping, touching objects or other people. Tourette syndrome. I believe it's it's associated with it's associated with Tourette's. They can't fully get out their words. It's Tourette's. Esau calls it Tourette syndrome. We know it's a demon. Alright? And these things can be cured. And foameth and gnasheth with his teeth and pineth away, jerking. Right? And I spake to the disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. So YAHAWASHI gave his disciples charge to cast out that demon, but they could not. He answered him and saith, O faithless generation, their faith wasn't where it should have been. How long should I be with you? How long should I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him. Right? So he was jerking up, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. It can be dangerous. That can be dangerous because you could swallow your tongue. And he asked his father, how long is it ago since this came unto him? He said, of a child. And oftentimes he cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. Right? So it was a mental issue as well. But if that can do anything, that's called a mental imbalance. Have compassion on us and help us. Yahushua said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. So Yahushua said, well, if you believe I can do this, then yeah. All starts with faith. And straightway the father of the child cried out, right? And said with tears, Lord Yahushua, I believe. Help, though my unbelief. When Yahushua saw that, the people came running together. He rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter no more into him. Alright? So he's speaking to the spirit. Remember, when you're speaking to people, more so, you're speaking to the spirit inside of them. And the spirit cried and rent him sore, ripped him up, and cried and came out of him, and he was as one dead, in so much that many said, he is dead. But Yahushua took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was coming to the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could we not cast them out? Here we go. And he said unto them, this kind of what? This kind of demon, this kind of spirit. There's different spirits that possess different type of people. This kind can come forth by nothing else, but by prayer and fasting. So there's particular demons, particular strongholds, particular things you may have struggled with from a youth, and you may think, why is it still there? Because there's a certain amount of prayer and fasting that's needed to get rid of that particular demon. Okay? Because all these diseases, everything that Esau, he says, Esau wants to put labels on everything because he's the devil. Esau says, that's Tourette's, that's schizophrenia, that's what else? He has all these labels, all these different labels. That's Parkinson's, that's this. It's demons, that's what it is. That have strongholds that have taken over people's vessels. Right? Every sickness is just a disease. When your body's at dis-ease, that's all it is. Right? So by fasting, by prayer and fasting, you're able to get rid of any demon. This particular demon, it needed prayer and much fasting. So Yahushua, he's also given us what we need, everything, Yahushua has given us everything we need in this battle. So really, no brother or sister can say, well, I didn't have this, I didn't know this. And if you're listening, now you know. There's always something we could work on. Always. And it starts with prayer first, and try a bit of fasting. Try the intermediate fasting first and see how you feel. And see the difference. Brothers and sisters, does it work? 100%. It works. 100%. And the devil doesn't want you to do this. The enemy doesn't want you to do that. The enemy wants you to be a slave of your flesh. Right? Is there anything wrong with watching a bit of TV? Some of you may, I don't know, play a game, go out to a bar. Nothing is wrong with that. But make sure you're balancing out your time, and your flesh is not ruling over your spirit. And your spirit's ruling over your flesh. So with this, I really hope this was edifying. And until the next time, Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.